Jojo review. Guess there's a bunch of things to talk about, but I might as well go in order. So we find out that Chariot Requiem kind of has a failsafe to avoid other stand users from picking up the arrow. And we learn about this immediately when Bucciarati goes to pick up the arrow. His stand kind of pulls him back. And we notice that with other stands as well. They'll just go berserk and they'll attack you or prevent you from picking up that arrow. So it's good news and it's bad news. Good news because you know that Diablo won't be able to pick up that arrow without being attacked by his own stand. And bad news because we can't pick up the arrow. And later on they do some more tests and they find out, oh, even if we try to touch it with other things, it still kind of counts as us touching it, so other things that we try to throw on it, it'll just bounce right back. So, if they put on gloves, aha, I'm not technically touching it, no, you're still touching it. Or if you try to lasso it with a rope, your rope is just going to fling right back at you. You can't do that. So this ability is made to completely repel any other stand users from picking up this arrow. So Chariot Requiem, still a big problem. Everyone's still body swapped. We're having some issues here. And then the body of Bruno begins to wake up. And of course, Mista's on that shit. And of course, nobody knows yet that Bruno's body is a zombie. So Mista is sure to miss all of Bruno's vital parts and just make it so that he shoots him so he can't move. So right now, he's just convulsing on the floor, unable to see, unable to hear, but still alive. Just, bleeding out a little bit, but like I said before, the body is a zombie, so... And of course, we find out that that is actually not Diablo in the body, it's Doppio. Interestingly enough. So... that just makes me feel very, very bad for Doppio in this body. Can't see, can't hear, convulsing on the floor, bleeding. He's having the worst day. Man, I was so hoping that redeeming Doppio would be an option in Jojo, but now it's just dudes in a zombie body just convulsing on the floor. Not dead. Yet. And of course, as we do in Jojo, we celebrate prematurely. So Narantia in Giorno's body is just oh man, this is great, we took out Diablo, now all we have to do is get the arrow. He's talking about, when I get back, I'm gonna go back to school and I'm gonna eat some hot pizza. The piano music starts up, he's looking up at the sky man, I love being alive. As soon as I see that scene, I'm just thinking to myself, oh, no, he's gonna die, isn't he? It's so obvious when you do that. You know that it's so obvious. You can't just have a character say, ooh, life is great, and then expect me not to know that bitch is gonna die. I do love how they do Narantia's death, though. Besides the obvious cue, just have, the most subtle moment, Trish is going into Mista's boot to give Mista his bullets, and it's just ever so slight, skips forward. And, you look at that and you almost think, did my mind just play a trick on me? Did I just blink for a slightly longer second than normal? You don't hear any, of the sound that goes with it. You just visually see the skip. I like that. I like that scene. And then, of course, Mrs. all of a sudden got the bullets in his hands, and there are 4 bullets on the ground that must have dropped. So he's freaking out bad luck, bad juju is in the air. And they almost find the body it's a horror movie, it's dripping from the top, absolutely destroyed. It's one of the worst ways to die, because not only are you not in your own body when you die, but you're also impaled by poles, and you never got to fight in your last moments. You're just dead. And they take him down from the poles, and Giorno heals his own body. We do have this other good scene where Giorno in Narancia's body is kind of like holding on to his own body, and he's speaking through both bodies because both bodies are empty, so his soul can just kind of slip through, back and forth through both of them. And he slips back into his own body. They have to kind of leave Narancia's body behind, and Giorno gives him some flowers. It is a shame. All the characters I like are getting killed off. If Mista dies next, I'm gonna be really pissed. You served us good, Narancia, but unfortunately, you're the lookout, so you have to die first. So, you know, if you've seen my previous video, you know that the theory I was going with was maybe Bruno and Doppio were sharing the same body. You know, maybe one of the personalities switched into another body, but maybe one of them stayed. Well, I know that it's not Doppio who is in the body with Bruno. I'm not sure if Diavolo is in the body with Bruno. What they are theorizing in the show is that Diavolo is in another body somewhere, hiding among civilians. Or animals. Because we already know that, you know, an animal and a human can switch souls or minds or whatever. So it could be that Diavolo is in a smaller animal, and that also could be why, you know, Narancia was not really picking him up on the radar as a threat, because he usually cancels out all the smaller animals and he doesn't even consider them when he's looking at his radar because, you know, they're animals. Of course animals aren't going to attack us. It is 100% possible that Diavolo and Bruno are in the same body also. But I would think at this point maybe Bruno would know when Diavolo takes over, you know? I mean, you'd have to be kind of oblivious to not know when somebody takes over your body, uses a stand, and then goes back. So everyone's going after Chariot Requiem, and they're assuming that Diavolo is also going to be going after Chariot Requiem and kind of figuring out how to get the arrow to pierce his own stand. And you know, I'd be willing to bet by, like, the finale of Jojo, he does pierce his own stand with the arrow. Because doesn't Jojo seem like that kind of show? Where you have this all-powerful villain, and then he becomes even more all-powerful. I just feel like Jojo is the type of show to, like, boost up the villain's stats right before ending the show. Just make him even more powerful. I mean, it has happened, like, a bunch of times in the different JoJo series before, you know, like the Pillarmen and then Kira, of course. If you, like, I guess attack, would tripping the stand count as an attack? Probably, right? I guess if you attack the stand itself, Chariot Requiem, it won't actually attack you back. It won't actually see you as a threat. But if you take the arrow, that's a whole other story. So the way they figure it is stand users can't get anywhere near this arrow. We shouldn't even try. We need a non-stand user to pick up this arrow. So Polnareff is able to pick it up in his whole turtle form. And I guess the idea behind that is he's not actually using his stand. Chariot Requiem is his stand, but he doesn't have control over it. It's basically become its own entity. So I guess Polnareff doesn't count as a stand user anymore. He's no longer a stand user, so he can pick up the arrow. But he's also a turtle, so he can't really run with that arrow. And I'm assuming that they can't pick up Polnareff, who is picking up the arrow. I'm assuming that their stands won't let them do that because they won't let them anywhere near the arrow. So Polnareff is saying, Mista, pierce your stand with the arrow, and just hope that it doesn't go berserk like mine, I guess, is the idea behind that. You know, I'm more so thinking that Giorno should be the one piercing his stand with the arrow, and he probably is. He probably is gonna do that. I don't know. I don't know what's, I don't know what to expect from Mista. I really am hoping that he's not dying anytime soon. And then the episode ends whoop, just like that. It ends kind of abruptly, honestly. I was a little bit like, it didn't really, it didn't really feel like an ending. Or, well, I guess Jojo has a tendency to do that with the to be continued. And I don't know, I wanted more. I wanted more than just, oh, this character dies this episode. See you next week. Thanks, Jojo. Bastards. Anyway, so, that's where we end with this episode. And it was a good episode. I'm kind of wondering, how do you beat the Chariot Requiem? Does it have something to do with the piercing your own stand with the arrow? I don't know, because like they've attacked it and it just kind of, it's like this squishy black plastic, Bruno chops off its arm, it just all good. I'm kind of wondering if Chariot Requiem still counts as Polnareff's life energy. Would you make Chariot Requiem disappear just by killing? Oh, but stands exist after death also sometimes, and also I guess it's become its own entity and it's not linked to Polnareff anymore, which is why he can pick up the arrow. It's all this complicated shit, man. Anyway, tell me what you think down below in the comments. As usual, remember to like the video, sub if you want to see more weekly JoJo reviews. I guess it's a little bit late for me to tell you guys to sub. I mean, we're almost at the end of it now. As usual, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye! Program restart.